Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. My ace Boone Coons, what is up? I got a good one for you today. Let's keep it informative. I told you I would do a part 2 on Agenda 21 and the New World Order. Let's get straight to it. You guys must be informed on what the hell Agenda 21 is. All right, remember, they changed the name on this thing to confuse you or keep you blind. Let's get straight to it. This is a sort of a long video, but a great explanation of what Agenda 21 is.
I have been challenged on the radio and in audiences like this. Mr. Lamb, there's no such thing as a global agenda. Hey, friend, you're absolutely wrong. Here it is. It's called Agenda 21. Agenda 21, the primary document presented in Rio de Janeiro and adopted by more than 100 heads of state, including George Bush, which lays out in intricate detail all of the transformation that must take place in society in order for it to become sustainable as they define sustainability. This may be available at the United Nations bookstore. I had to pick this up. I had not seen one until last July, had not been able to get one. I happened to be in Geneva attending a United Nations meeting, and I went to the bookstore and bought the thing. I believe it cost $45. So the parties held its first meeting in Nassau last December. At that first meeting, the United Nations Environment Program presented them with a global biodiversity assessment. Started in 1992 with a grant from the Global Environment Facility for $3.3 million, orchestrated and coordinated by the World Resources Institute and the World Wildlife Fund and the International Union for the Conservation of Nature. This is 1,140 pages that explains how to implement the 16-page treaty on biodiversity. The last 200 pages, Section 13, deals specifically with a system of protected areas. It defines what a system of protected areas is. It includes core wilderness areas surrounded by buffer zones, similar to those used in the biosphere reserves, created under a UNESCO program and promoted by the United States Man in the Biosphere program. There are 382 biosphere reserves around the world, 47 of which are in the United States, not under authority of any treaty, but by voluntary agreement with the United Nations. These biosphere reserves are to be the nucleus for the core wilderness area. Scratching my head here, what on earth is going on? And then I stumbled on page 993, and friends, if you don't think that's some heavy reading at night, page 993, after describing these protected areas, sums it all up by saying, the recently published Wildlands project in the United States is the central theme of protected areas. And on page 15 of the Wildlands project, Dr. Reed Noss says that we must convert at least 50% of the land area of North America to wilderness, off limits to human beings. Those core wilderness areas are to be interconnected by wilderness corridors off limits to human beings. those wilderness areas are to be surrounded by buffer zones that may have limited resource use under the supervision and permitting of the federal government, in collaboration with non-government organizations. Human population to be resettled into the remaining 25% of the land, into communities that are described as sustainable communities. Now let me put a parenthesis right here for a moment. He created what he called a White House task force on ecosystem management. He called 20 federal departments together and said, you will create an ecosystem management policy, and you will implement the ecosystem management policy throughout the federal government, Department of Interior, Department of Agriculture, Department of Commerce, Department of Education, throughout the federal government. They developed what they called multimedia enforcement. Where they run into a problem with a community that will not accept this ecosystem management concept, multimedia enforcement means that all 20 federal agencies descend on the community and begin inspections and writing tickets. I couldn't believe it.
The document calls for literally reducing the human population by as much as 2/3 to 3/4 in the next 30 to 50 years. It could set aside up to 1/2 of the American landscape into wilderness areas interconnected by wilderness corridors, all surrounded by human buffer zones in which human activities are highly regulated. That is very, very clear in these United Nations documents that they want to set up a regulatory structure that would affect every man, woman, and child on planet Earth, and all of the control would be headquartered in the United Nations. And if we take the more recent United Nations documents, it's going to be called the Trusteeship Council in the restructure of the United Nations that's occurring right now. And the Man of the Biosphere Program, as revealed in the U.S. State Department documents as well as UNESCO documents, clearly show that the Man of the Biosphere Program actually is the first step in implementing the Convention on Biological Diversity. And there are 47 of these Man of the Biosphere Program around this nation that occupy about 51 million acres of U.S. soil.
World Heritage Sites are many of our national parks. In fact, 68% of our national parks land base is now under UNESCO's World Heritage Site, and that includes the symbol of independence in America, the Independence Hall, the Statue of Liberty, Yellowstone National Park, Monticello, Carlsbad Caverns, and the American people didn't even realize this was happening. It was done in secret.
Okay, y'all. 4 key points that I got off of that: population control, the wilderness areas, and the heritage sites, and weather control. All right, so North Carolina, Florida, we just got Hurricane Helene. It kind of makes me wonder, right? What if this weather control stuff is part of that Agenda 21 in order to create more wilderness areas so there will be less people and better, easier control for the government? Just a thought. 2/3 of the population needs to be gone, done, bro. That do you remember what the Bible says? Apocalypse. 2/3 of the population God will give authority to his angels to destroy 2/3 of the population. I don't know. A lot of things can come out of that. The heritage site. This is why I don't trust politicians or anyone in politics. I don't think a president is in full control. God bless our leaders with insight, with truth, so they can give truth to the people. But isn't the Heritage Foundations the one that wrote? They're the conservative group that wrote. What is that called 20 Agenda 2025. Don't quote me on it. Hold on, let me figure out. Project 2025. Project 2025, written by the Heritage Group, which Trump says he has no idea what it's all about, but it looks like they're his biggest donors, and might have a hand in inside that heritage, the heritage sites, which are wilderness groups that will wilderness areas that will be demolished. How? You know what I mean? How will we have more wilderness areas in half of the United States? You know what I mean? That was a very interesting video. All right. Weather control. What if weather control is the way that they're going to create these wilderness sites? I don't know. Agenda 21. Do your research.
It's Agenda 21, the agenda for the 21st century. So this is not something that, just a bunch of people are out there making up. This is real. It's a plan to remove humans and human activity from rural and suburban areas.
Let us today pledge to light the path to this transformative vision.
It's been implemented in our country, and it has been supported by every president ever since.
As president, I must put the interests of America first.
So you're going to be concerned about this not just as Americans, but as free human beings. And this is a world plan. It is a blueprint. It's the action plan to inventory and control all land, all water, all plants, all animals, all minerals, all construction, all means of production, all energy, all information, and all human beings in the world. It doesn't get any more comprehensive than that, does it? It's a global plan, but it's implemented locally. And this is what you need to know about it. It is implemented locally. It is in every single city, town, hamlet in the entire United States right now. We're not talking about something that's out there in the ether that's not impacting you today. It is happening now. It's the biggest public relations scam in the history of the world. But it is far more than that. It's the agenda for the 21st century, and it is a recipe for destruction. It enables and justifies monitoring and metering and restricting our energy and water usage, and you'll see that as smart meters, right? Sinking our economy, bleeding our transportation budget with high-cost trains to nowhere, revamping the school system by inserting sustainable development principles into every course from pre-kindergarten all the way to postgraduate school, declaring our public lands off limits to humans, changing every land use document in the nation to require high-density housing in city centers to more easily monitor, surveil, and control us. It's a global totalitarian state, and it is happening now. It's happening without any flashing lights. You're not going to see it called Agenda 21. It's a stealth plan, and it's happening in plain sight. Every takeover has its own philosophy, and this one does too, and it's called communitarianism. It's the overarching political and social philosophy that goes with this plan. It's communitarianism.
Only on Johnny Bigger.
And what is that? It says that the individual's rights have to be balanced with the rights of the community. Now, our Constitution guarantees us our individual rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, whatever that may be. But communitarianism says that it's all for the common good, that the individual's rights need to be balanced with the rights of the community. Now, we don't know what the community's rights are because they're not delineated. They're not written anywhere. They can change at any time. They're those amorphous rights that it's living, it's growing, it's moving, it's changing, it's whatever they say it is. So you're going to balance your individual rights with the rights of the community, and guess what? The individual always loses. The community's rights are always heavier. There's more community than there is individual. We're all individuals, but together we're the community. Who speaks for us is the question, right? A crisis is created, okay? And then a solution is posed. The balance between these is the new normal. Now, you never would have agreed to that new normal if it weren't for that heavy crisis. But now you got to do something, right? You're in a panic. And now, without that crisis pressuring you, you would never have accepted that new solution. They came back, 1992, with Agenda 21. This is it. It's a real thing, believe it or not. It is an inventory and control plan. This is what they do. They're inventorying you, your use of energy. It's what you take in and what goes out. They're monitoring and measuring cities. The two parts of Agenda 21 are imposed. And that is smart growth, which is moving populations into concentrated city centers and restricting mobility, where we can be more easily monitored, controlled, and surveilled. And the other part, the wildlands. And that's getting people out of rural areas and suburban areas, blocking their access to wilderness roads and resources, and shifting land ownership from private to public. This is what this is about, is taking away our private land ownership. All totalitarian states share the same characteristics. Total control of property and means of production. Total information. Surveillance. Loss of free speech and restricted movement. They also share a philosophy, a common philosophy, and that is the philosophy that it's all for the common good. Yes, the individual is selfish. It's all for the common good. And what else? It's the Spartan present. Austerity. You've got to restrict your usage. You've got to reduce your usage. This is not about conservation. This is not about the environment. This is about inventory and control of you.
Only on Johnny Bigger.
This is a takeover of our nation. This is an administrative coup d'etat. And it is happening right now. And we are really in the end game now. This is what it looks like. It's worldwide. This is an unelected shadow government, and it is sold to you as an economic driver. That's what you're told. You can't compete, Little Dover. You're not going to be able to compete unless you join together in a region. It's the region. It's all about the region, right? This non-existent, unelected board and commission. These regional plans are the same all across the United States. It doesn't matter which city it is. It's all the same plan. Now, we're paying millions and millions of dollars to consultants to come up with these plans, these regional plans that are directing and restricting what we can do with our land. They have climate action plans as part of them. Some of those climate action plans say that you can't have drive-thrus anymore. You like stopping to grab something on your way somewhere? No, no, no. That is not walkable and bikeable. I don't know, I guess you can't ride your bike through there. Okay, no more drive-thrus in my town. This is coming your way. You haven't seen it here yet? You will. Okay, this is where it goes. This is all part of sustainable development. This is, I haven't gotten off topic one time. This is sustainable development. Agenda 21, sustainable development, restricting, controlling, inventory. This is it. They're using our money. They're taking our money. They are sinking our economy. This is designed to fail. That's what's so incredible about it. When you see these regions, you're going to see livable communities, livable community partnerships, sustainable communities, one planet communities. These are all part of Agenda 21. So here's the other piece of Agenda 21, and that is the wildlands. And excuse me, but that's where you live. That's right. That's where we are, the wildlands. It's a plan to remove humans and human activity from rural and suburban
Only
areas.
on Johnny Bigger.
Now, they use extreme population projections to say, hey, we're eating up all the farmland. We're building all over our farmland. We can't let that happen. You look around at each other because you are looking at the resistance. This is what the resistance looks like. And we are all across the country. And we're a lot stronger than we think. We really are. So, get yourself educated on what's going on. You want to read your plans. It's boring, yeah, but you know what? It isn't. There's nothing more exciting than being involved with your government, with your life, with what's happening to you.
To stay up to date with our latest videos, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Well, damn. All right, key points that we got off of that video. It's a recipe for destruction, total destruction. They're declaring public lands off limits. That's part of the plan. Sustainable development. No more drive-throughs. Everything's got to be bikeable or walkable. Wild. If you haven't seen it in your city yet, you will start seeing it. What do you think these smart cities are all about? You can't drive more than 15 minutes away. You can't use your resources for more than 15 minutes. I don't know. Some people are calling them 15-minute cities. Well, smart cities. You're hearing a lot more about that. They're going to restrict usage from land. Restrict usage from land. Restrict usage from resources. Communitarianism. An example, COVID, communitarianism, where everyone has to rat on each other. You know what I mean? Snitch, or they'll make you feel guilty if you go against the system, against the community, right? So I don't know, guys. I think we're seeing that shit right now. We're seeing all of it. I hope more people do more videos on Agenda 21 and the New World Order, because it's becoming realer and realer. Hold up. All right, here's Agenda 21 explained in 2 minutes.
Agenda 21 is kind of a code name for a master plan originated at the United Nations to change the political and economic system of the world to one of total collectivism. And in order to do that, people must not be allowed to have independence. They must be dependent on the state for everything. Otherwise, they won't be easily controlled by the state. That means they can't have private property, mostly. They cannot have land of their own. They have to live in preferably high-rise apartments that are provided to them by the state as a benefit, so to speak. Oh, good, we got a free apartment. But these people at the top want all humans to be dependent on the largesse of the state. That means that they don't want anybody living out in the boonies. Anybody that's got a couple of acres of land and his own water supply and can grow his own food and that kind of thing, or have some sheep or some chickens, these people...
You're a threat to the government if you live that way.
...are a threat to the collectivist society, because they aren't going to go to the politicians and say, please feed me, please clothe me, please give me shelter. They tend to be independent. That's the secret behind Agenda 21. They want people out of the country. They want corporations out there growing all the food and that kind of thing, but they don't want anybody living out there, because that way they cannot be controlled. In order to control mankind, we have to get them all into the big cities. We have to rack them up and stack them up, get them dependent on the state for their food, their shelter, their electrical power, their water, everything. That's the dirty secret behind Agenda 21.
Are you seeing it yet? It's not a conspiracy, folks. The shit was written back in 92. I think I heard about this in 96. This is where my whole conspiratorial mind was created. When I heard what the hell Agenda 21 was, and behold the pale white horse, and read 1984, that's where it all began. Guys, stay on top of this. I do these videos to keep you aware, to keep you honed in to things of the Bible, things of apocalypse, things of prophecy. I don't know. I've always been fascinated by it. And I think the least I can do is share the knowledge that I've learned. Right? Remember the keywords: sustainable development. They're going to make it look pretty for you. They're going to tell you, oh, look, you got to recycle. You got a global warming. You got to take care of your neighbors, take care of your community. But you'll own nothing. But you'll love it. Check it.
Nations Agenda 21, Sustainable Development. It is the inventory and control plan. Inventory and control of all land, all water, all minerals, all plants, all animals, all construction, all means of production, all food, all energy, all information, and all human beings.
Bro, imagine not getting water when you really need it or want it. Imagine not playing games or watching TV whenever you want, whenever you need it. This is it's a little too much. And it might sound a little exaggerated, but it's coming. They're going to try.
In the world. And this is a plan that was agreed to by 179 nations back in 1992. It's a United Nations plan. It's called
unelected nations, unelected politicians, unelected governments. Like, where in the world were we when they were making this decision for us? Come on now.
Called the Agenda for the 21st Century. And so many of us around the world think that sustainable development, it just sounds so great. Isn't it about recycling and creative reuse and creating energy and food resources for everyone? And the answer is no, it really is not. It's about moving populations into city centers, concentrated city centers, and clearing them out of the rural areas. It's constructed of non-governmental organizations, corporations, and government.
That's a thought. That sounds like the Jetsons or like some cyberpunk shit. They'll stack you all up. Some Judge Dredd or Blade Runner shit. You know what I mean? They'll stack you all up in cities, get you out of your rural areas or your suburbs, or, you know, the nice privacy of your own home. 2-3 acres will be no more. I mean, how's that sound to you, dude? Are you okay with that? Come on now.
In order to dictate and regulate what it is that happens around the world. Regionalization is the stepping stone to globalization, and globalization is the standardization of all systems. All systems have to be brought into harmony in order to control them all. And the goal of Agenda 21 is one world government and total control from a central unit. The principles are public-private partnerships, which is fascism. And this is how it's implemented on the ground, is through this joining together between corporations, non-governmental organizations, and governments in order to cut out the actual individual, your voter, and instead to take that to a level where we literally cannot penetrate. This is a corporatocracy. It's a totalitarian state being developed right now all over the world while we are moving towards the end game. We are not there. And this is the opportunity that all of us have now to stand up, to speak out. We are free, and we need to continue to be free. And I do believe that we will win, but we have to become aware that there is a fight.
Powerful. Powerful, powerful knowledge. Knowledge is power. They don't say that for nothing. Imagine that. All right, so here, this is the woman that was talking in the last video. Her name is Rosa Coyer. She is an author and an expert in Agenda 21. She wrote the book Behind the Green Mask. I suggest you guys get that book, read it, or try to find it on YouTube or something. Hopefully it's still there. But I like how she explains in this video how it doesn't matter who you elect. they're all going to be, anybody you elect or you think you're electing will be on board with this agenda. There is no choice. That's what they're trying to do. So, that being said,
Agenda 21 is about restricting your ability to be free. It's about designing an interim regional governance so that you literally have no voice. It doesn't matter who you elect. Your elected official will simply be part of this plan. The idea is that you'll be unable to escape the one world governance, that the individual has no rights, that you have no rights, that there's no free speech, that you have no ability to dissent. Your educational system is supporting this plan right now. When you look at all totalitarian states, they share the same characteristics: full, total ownership of all production, the restriction on free speech rights, no private property ownership, the vision of the glorious future, and terror. Terror is a requirement, the concept that you can't think clearly, you can't ask questions, because we're in a terribly dangerous situation now.
what does that remind you of? My first thought, COVID, right? Division, right? You're seeing it in politics. And again, like she said, it doesn't matter who the hell you vote for. It's a straw man argument. Pick a side. They're just dividing you. Guys, please don't fall for this shit. Please share this. Please inform yourself.
And you just have to act and trust us, because we know what is best for you. This completely destroys the individual's rights, and is designed to do that. And this is what United Nations Agenda 21 Sustainable Development really is about. It's about destroying your ability to be free. Agenda 21.
That gave me chills. I mean, will we see it in our lifetime? We're seeing the beginning of it. We're seeing the division. We're seeing the damn the power in corporations that we see. We're seeing the corporations work their way up to overpowering us, like pharmaceutical companies, food companies. Dude, the FDA has something coming, bro. Like, why hasn't the FDA been sued yet? They're the foods that you see that are legal here are illegal in other countries. Come on now, make it make sense. How do people not see this? How do people not see that the division doesn't matter if you're voting for Trump, doesn't matter if you're voting for Kamala. They will have to be on board with this agenda. Damn. Oh no, I got one more for you. Hold up. Okay, guys. It just hit me while making this video. I think I have completely snapped out of the matrix while making this video. It's time for us to put 2 and 2 together. No other conspiracy matters anymore. Every conspiracy leads to this conspiracy, which is not a conspiracy, as you've seen in this video. This is a plan. It was written and made public in 1992 by no other than Rio de Janeiro. And what's in Rio de Janeiro? Brazil. What's in Brazil? The Amazon. What's been on fire and has burned over 8 million acres of land? The Amazon. So I'll leave it at that. I'm going to show you a few more videos, and hopefully you can put 2 and 2 together. Now, what did they say was part of that agenda? To create wildlands, to get everyone that is living off the land into smart cities. What did you see? What do you think is happening in the Amazon? That is Brazil. Peru is on fire too, by the way. I'm going to read this. A staggering 7.4 million acres of Brazil's Amazon burned in the first half of 2024. Let me repeat that. A staggering 7.4 million acres of Brazil's Amazon has burned in the first half of 2024. So that's a 122% increase from the previous year. And that was the beginning of this year. We're month number 9. It is September. Today is September 30th, last day of September. So that number has increased. That, and in 2023, an astonishing 26.4 million acres burned. What the hell? Why is this not in the news? This is nuts. I can't believe this Diddy shit, this political shit, our elections. It's all a distraction, y'all. There is much more important stuff going on. Makes you wonder about Israel. They're burning up Gaza. They're taking out Gaza. What are they going to do with that land? You know what I mean? Well, it's all adding up. It's all adding up. This is Peru.
Peru is in flames. Massive wildfire blazes through Peru's wetland. More than 170 emergencies have been declared. Around 3,300 hectares have been affected. Firefighters are fighting to contain the blaze. It is critically impacting archaeological sites, wildlife, and the habitats of endangered species. Many local communities continue to fight, but they lack the necessary resources.
How can you fight this? I don't know. I'm doing my part. Somehow, I think making these videos will make more people aware and realize as a collective consciousness that we are being lied to. We are being distracted. Music, politics, food, you name it, dude. Come on now. Diddy, entertainment. Come on. Why is this not in the news?
The Amazon is facing one of its worst droughts ever recorded. Major rivers are drying up and wildfires are burning uncontrollably, with smoke visible from space. The effects are stretching from Brazil to Bolivia and Paraguay, where rivers are at their lowest levels in over a century, and rain isn't expected until October. For indigenous peoples, the threats are severe. Plummeting river levels mean stranded villages, a shortage of clean water, and fish die-offs, threatening a vital food source. Climate change, public policies, and economic pressures have all played a role. Experts say one solution is clear: support indigenous communities. Indigenous communities receive only 1% of global funding for climate and biodiversity, yet they are crucial for protecting the Amazon. With the right support, these communities can continue to safeguard the Amazon and their way of life, all while fighting the harsh effects of climate change that are already disrupting millions of lives.
This next clip is from 2 years ago in the Amazon. Mind you, it is still on fire. It's spread from Brazil to Peru and now Paraguay. How many of you knew this? Are you getting it yet?
You won't see this on the news, but the Amazon rainforest is burning again. It's 2022, and we're seeing record levels of deforestation in the Brazilian Amazon, a 15-year high, higher than 2019 when the Amazon rainforest burned last, and was all because this happens every year. And behind me right now, the fields are jumping into primary forest, and we are losing crucial habitat to endangered species, home to indigenous people, undiscovered medicines, and let's not forget crucial climate control that comes standard with life on planet Earth. As long as you don't burn down the largest rainforest we have, we are losing one of the greatest things that our planet has, and it has to stop. We can solve this problem. All we have to do is stop burning an ecosystem that does not naturally burn. You won't see this on the news.
Did you know that scientists are warning we might be reaching a tipping point where the Amazon may not be able to sustain its own moisture cycle? That's what happens when we allow this wholesale destruction for decades. We've lost almost 20% of the Amazon to date. Please share so we can fix this. We have a plan and have already begun. If enough people come together, we can protect the wildlife and the forest and create sustainable jobs for loggers and miners so that this kind of destruction isn't necessary. We cannot keep burning our greatest biological treasures. That was 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And it's still burning.
Why is this not in the news? Part 4. This is today's NASA fire map, and over 7.4 million acres of Brazil's Amazon has burned so far this year. Yet not a peep from big media about it. So I'm going to peep about it. Would you like to peep about it? To Big Media News in the comments. To ask them to please share this story of gargantuan global importance. Why is this not...
Big Media, shame on you. CNN, shame on you. Fox News, shame on you. What the hell are you feeding us? People, get out the matrix. Get out of your TVs. Check the news. This is real news. Get on TikTok. Get on Twitter. Subscribe to this channel. And get some real news. This is sad. This is horrible. This is... I have no words for it. This is disgusting. It's insulting.
Me muero de inmensa tristeza, mientras que tú vives en medio de halagos, corazón de piedra. Recuerda que ambos fuimos pobres cuando nuestras almas. Me muero de inmensa tristeza, mientras que tú vives en medio.
All right, guys. So I've come to the conclusion. All conspiracies that we know about, that you hear about, lead to this. Agenda 21. No other conspiracy matters. Every conspiracy that we know is led by this conspiracy of Agenda 21. From control of our natural resources, depopulation conspiracies, control of our food industry conspiracies, control of our medical industry conspiracies, deforestation, creating wildlands, weather control, political division, social division, wars, all lead to this. Agenda 21. I'm going to leave you with this. I love you. Please pray. We need it more than ever. Don't lose faith. If you don't have any faith, do some more critical thinking and don't be a follower. God bless you. I love you. Peace. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. We plan on keeping it realer than real, for entertainment purposes only. Please comment what you'd like to see. If you agree or if you disagree, you won't hurt my feelings. I need some engagement for this channel. I want it to grow. I want to inform the world. It's the least we can do is gain consciousness together and share critical information that is affecting our children's future, our current lives, our food, our monies. Guys, Please subscribe. Be some Ace Boon Coons. You know. Alobien current events. I hope you enjoyed this video.